Judith Goodenough, also known as J.B. Goodenough, was a Unitarian Universalist poet and musician. She was born in Kentucky, where her father was a librarian. Due to his work, her family lived all over the Midwest and finally settled in New York City. In high school, Judith fell in love with the arts. She loved playing the piano, dancing, and most of all, writing poetry. After graduating high school, Judith continued her studies at Radcliffe College and eventually Harvard University. In 1964, she earned her Bachelor of Arts degree from both Radcliffe and Harvard. While she was studying at Harvard, she met her husband, John Goodenough, who was also studying to be a mathematician and worked in the Air Force Decision Sciences Laboratory in Massachusetts. Shortly after graduating, John and Judith had their first child. Judith decided to stay home from work at this time and take care of their small family. It was while she was at home that her creativity with the arts was renewed. She began writing again. Along with writing poetry, she began to paint. She sold over 100 works of art. When her children were a little bit older, Judith wanted to start working again, and she began working at the First Religious Society of Carlisle, Massachusetts, a Unitarian Universalist congregation. Through her work there, she felt her soul pulled to our faith. She began to attend, and her family became active in the congregation. In 1984, Judith published her very first book of poetry under the initials J.B. At the time, she told her friend she went by her initials because then her work was more acceptable to editors. Now, this has happened to several famous women authors over the years. Authors like Louisa May Alcott, George Eliot, and Charlotte Bronte are other examples of female authors that needed to use pen names. With her poetry being published in multiple publications, as well as her own collections, Judith turned her poetry into music. Her lyrics were inspired by the folk music sung with her friends in Harvard Square. Judith considered herself a muddy-booted Yankee by conviction. She was resourceful and crafty. Like a lot of artists, she was also slightly eccentric and could be found walking her neighborhood with her pet mini pig, Finnegan. Judith died on September 18, 1990, in her home with breast cancer. Her funeral was held at her home church of the First Religious Society of Carlisle. During this service, she had her friend read these words: "Touch each other and be gentle with each other. Find your way back again into the winds and currents of your separate lives. Some part of me goes with you. Among you, a bit of wind or a touch of shadow or something a bird might have said." Judith Goodenough will be remembered as a gifted artist, finding herself time and time again through her creativity.